Hello and welcome to another episode of the Force Dyad Podcast. Wherever, whenever, and however you may be listening, we are honored that you've joined us. On today's episode, it's a bit of a free-form discussion. Talk a bit about the recent news and notes from the fallout from the Taika Waititi Rolling Stone interview. Cover some recent comic issues that have come out. Obi-Wan #2 just came out last week, as well as Shadow of the Sith in the novel world. And we'll wrap up with a toy discussion and discuss whether or not Jedi John can get out from underneath the mountain of toys he has here in the Jedi Temple. So that and more, sit back and relax. This is where the fun begins.
The Force is what gives the Jedi his power.
Why is the Force connecting us?
I am a Jedi.
Always two there are. We're a dyad in the Force.
And welcome to episode 31, Force Dyad Podcast. Very excited to be here. Jedi John with Obi-Sean back in action.
Hi, Frayne.
Hello.
How we doing?
I'm doing quite well.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean,
After we managed to dig out the recording area from
listen,
all of the toys.
there's a lot. There's, my name is Jedi John, and I have a problem. I just don't have enough space.
Well, that can be fixed by just getting a new house, right?
Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's what I'll sell my wife on that one. I'll sell the house out from under her and then just buy a new one, a bigger one
With more rooms.
with more rooms, which should be very exciting. I can even ask a few people to come and help me move. That'd be a lot of fun. Usually when I have people move me, though, they don't want to touch the collectibles. They don't trust themselves. So I end up having to move this room all alone.
That's fair. I mean, there's a lot of responsibility that comes with handling.
With this much power, yeah.
Comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
So we've got a fun little show in store for us tonight. We don't have any more TV shows for the moment. We've got about a 7-week lull until Andor comes out. So, but that doesn't mean we're short of fun stuff to cover.
And
So
good content.
2 days ago was 4th of July. So did you have fun? Did you enjoy the holiday? Did you do anything cool?
Not really anything too cool. My neighborhood has a big block party. It was a lot of fun. Shot off a ton of fireworks at the end of that, and just had a good day. We did that on that Sunday, the 3rd, technically. So the 4th was a little more low key around the neighborhood, which was kind of nice. But I mean, still fireworks around us everywhere. So
Nice. Did your son enjoy the fireworks?
he did. Yeah, he enjoys. I enjoyed all that. How about yours?
Yeah.
What was your?
Yeah, Connor had a nice time. We had a barbecue with the family, and everyone came over to our house afterwards for dessert bar. So cookies, ice cream, brownies, the works. And then we have our town puts on its own little firework display at the park, which is just a block north of where we live. And so we're lucky enough to where we can sit in our front yard and just watch a 20-minute professionally, put on fireworks show. So it was another excellent show. We didn't know that when we bought the house. That was just kind of a nice bonus. So if we ever get around to selling it, which I don't think we will, but if we did, that would be going in the contract. Like, don't have to leave to see a fireworks display. That'll be a selling point. That's easily worth at least $50,000
Easily.
on the house value.
Absolutely.
Especially in today's housing market. So
How do you can't even put a price tag on that? I'm surprised you said 50. Man,
it's priceless.
you don't have to leave to see fireworks.
You've got easy access to the loo. You've got air conditioning, fridge, full of bevs.
Yeah, it's very important.
It's nice.
It's nice.
It's convenient. And for a kid who, is up late, which, right, you kept your son up late to enjoy the show, I'm sure it's nice to just walk inside and put him to bed.
Yeah, I don't have to get in line and just wait in my car with a screaming child because they're tired.
Exactly. And those are the things you don't think about until you have kids. And, you go downtown, you go enjoy the parade downtown, enjoy the fireworks downtown. Like, yeah, I can do whatever I want. It doesn't matter if it takes me an hour or an hour and a half to get home in traffic. Now it's like, where are my exit routes?
Yeah.
And how quick can I get on the interstate? So
Should I leave during the fireworks or no?
No one needs to stay for the finale.
No, it's not important.
We'll see it from the highway.
I mean, I'm sure somebody has recorded this. I can probably watch it from their phone.
You just piece it together through various Snapchats and TikToks. I'm sure that's a thing.
It's there.
So, yeah. Anyways, kind of jumping into our first topic of discussion. We joked on the last podcast about the social media bag of negativity and what some of our favorite comments are. And I guess most notably, over the last few days, you've had the interview from Rolling Stone with Taika Waititi, mostly around Thor: Love and Thunder, which just came out last Friday, or Thursday.
Today.
Did it come out today?
Yeah, it's out this week.
Oh, I thought it came out last week. Anyways, yeah, having that discussion about that. And, of course, he's supposed to be slated to direct a Star Wars film, and they've got him saying, stuff about how he's not sure if his movie's going to get made, even though he was quoted as saying previously that he's going to have new characters and it's going to be kind of a totally new thing. And, then is that even Star Wars? And so there's a lot of confusion there. And then it came out today that he was talking with Natalie Portman, and she asked him, so what's next for you? And he's like, well, I'm supposed to do this Star Wars thing. Have you ever been in a Star Wars film? To which she's like,
yeah.
Or would you like to be in a Star Wars film or whatever? And she's like, yeah, I've been in them and I try and forget them. So naturally there's a lot of backlash from the fans against him. But, I mean, there's some in support, too, because Taika's got an interesting sense of humor. And, I mean, if you've seen the Thor movie, you've seen Ragnarok, that has a unique sense of humor, and apparently so does Love and Thunder. So
yeah, well, you know what's weird about this situation with Natalie Portman, right? Like, I think Taika was probably joking. I hope he was, at least, because as a fan, I hope the people directing these movies are also fans and care about the story and really care about the franchise and as a whole, because that's what we've come to expect, and we've been spoiled with Favreau and Filoni and people that truly love Star Wars and truly love the characters and love the fans and deliver what they feel like is the best Star Wars possible. So to hear somebody that may not know actors or actresses that were in movies 20 years ago in the franchise is alarming. Mm-hmm. So I can get on their side a little bit, but hopefully that's just a sense of humor to rile up some stuff, because that's a bit, any publicity is good publicity.
Oh yeah.
Right? So
yeah, well, and that was going to lead me into a question I had for you, and you kind of already answered it, and it was, how important is it to you that whoever is writing, because he's writing the movie too, or I think he's at least co-writing the script for it. How important is it to you that the person in charge of a film or a TV series is a fan? Like, to what extent do they need to be engaged in the universe?
Yeah, like, they don't have to be super fan, because I feel like that's when the stories go awry a little bit. But having a basic understanding of characters and obviously anything with Star Wars is going to go through Lucasfilm and Disney at this point. So it's not like you can just do whatever you want, because there are restrictions and there are people that are in charge that will say no. But at the same time, like you said, like, it's got a weird sense of humor to it. Like, it doesn't feel like the thing was, it maybe doesn't feel like Star Wars. Mm-hmm. Well, guess what? Maybe that's okay. So, I mean, I'm curious to see either way. I'll see it if it comes out and gets made. I'm also kind of thinking that it's just, I think they're doing stuff in secrecy.
You mean like with his film?
Yeah,
or with
like
all
I think,
the films?
well, any film being made right now is very. We'll have to get a master code breaker to figure it out.
I think Benicio del Toro is busy. So, but the thing about.
Well, what about you though?
I mean, I don't know. I'm not very good at that.
At what?
Code breaking.
Oh, sorry. I meant.
Oh, what about me?
Me?
Whoops. Yeah. So, I'm kind of in the same boat, but for me, I feel like if you're, and this doesn't kind of count with Favreau and Filoni, because obviously they're like kind of all in, but if you get too kind of blinded with being so engrossed with the existing timeline and canon, like you can have a Star Wars film or Star Wars story that exists in the universe and be totally separate from, not reference anything else, that we're familiar with. And I think I saw in the interview, talking about, oh, well, there's the blueprints for the Millennium Falcon, or like you can put little Easter eggs to show that, yeah, you're kind of in the timeline. But I think it would be fun to branch out. And I know we just got done with Kenobi, which is obviously very familiar to every fan, but there is so much more time outside of the 50 some odd years that encompass the Skywalker saga period. And there's plenty of lore from Legends, which I realize is not canon, but you can use some of that as long as it kind of works within the existing framework. And you can make I think you can make an interesting story that people would enjoy. You could costume it up and do your set design and all that stuff to make it look like Star Wars. And I mean, you can have Star Wars without Jedi, right? Rogue One showed that or proved that
until the very end.
Yeah, but he's not a Jedi.
Well, okay.
Right. So, but yeah, you're right. Until the Vader scene at the end, right? But having a deep depth of knowledge on the source content, I mean, it's important, especially when the character is as important as Padme was. So maybe he was joking about that. Hopefully he was joking about that. But as far as, I don't need him or her to be like a super fan in the way that many of us, I think, color ourselves. And to get kind of fresh ideas, which they kind of tried that at times in the sequel trilogy, and that kind of backfired, at least to some extent. For some,
yeah.
Others really enjoyed it, and so that's the risk you run, is how different do we want to be while still not upsetting the base, right? If you want to talk in political terms, right? Like, you don't want to upset the base, but you need to try and bring in more engagement, right?
More.
Right.
More.
So yeah. So I don't know. The Padme comment, the Natalie Portman thing, that's one thing, but not having a ton of background knowledge, that could be a positive if it's used appropriately. And then we talked last night about, the movie maybe not getting made, and I think you mentioned, well, they're so focused on Disney Plus shows that they don't need to do big budget movies. And, after you said that, I was like, I mean, I can see that. But the more I thought about it, I think, yeah, you're probably right. And they already canned, or at least paused, the Rogue Squadron movie. Yeah, there's no reason why they couldn't just pause all of their, film or feature film stuff and focus on, well, Andor's done, but focus on Ahsoka, focus on Acolyte, focus on, if they do the Rangers of the New Republic, focus on, was Lando supposed to be a movie or a show? I can't remember.
I think that was a show.
And then there was a droids show that they announced at that original thing. So that's like 5 TV shows. They don't need to.
I mean, 5 TV shows is going to provide, I don't know, 30 hours of content.
Well, it depends on how many episodes, right?
Yes, yeah.
But then you've got Bad Batch too, which who knows how many seasons of that you're going to have. I would love some other animation.
We're getting Visions too again.
Oh yeah, Visions too. The Resistance fans out there are hoping that they revive Resistance.
There are Resistance fans somewhere?
There are some, yeah. I personally haven't seen it. It's not,
it didn't do it for me.
I watched Visions, so I can't say I don't like the anime style of animation.
That Resistance show is just, not for me. I don't know. Meh. It was very meh.
Well, and it was on Disney XD, right? It wasn't on.
Yeah.
It wasn't on like Cartoon Network or anything like that, where you had to have a special cable package to actually watch it. So I feel like they kind of maybe shot themselves in the foot there with that for a little bit. But yeah. So I mean, if his movie doesn't get made, well, And
I'll be sad.
It'll be unfortunate if they don't find a way to kind of break out of the box.
Yeah.
And everyone talks about how George gave, I think Filoni said it so many times about the sandbox that everyone gets to play in. There is a big sandbox to play in. Like, you don't have to just play within
just this corner,
the lines, there are other fields to play on. And so I hope that the creators who are put in charge of these films are allowed to explore. And if it's not, air quote, successful, meaning it doesn't gross $1 billion, like, don't just shut it down. Like, let it breathe. One movie doesn't make a sample set, right? You need a few. And so I don't know if that means you need a trilogy or you need just a bunch of standalone films. I don't know what that is, but I'm okay with new stuff. Like, I want to see new stuff.
Yeah. I'd love to go to more new planets. Like, I would love to find new species that we haven't seen, or explore some of the species that we've only seen one of, in some cases. So
yeah. And one of the things too, and I wanted to dovetail off this discussion, is, your kind of view on the state of Star Wars. Like, now that Kenobi's done, and we know what's in the pipeline. Are you excited? Do you want something more? Do you want something different? Is there a show that you want to see them make at some point? Right, I threw that out on Twitter today, a poll, like, if you had a choice of a show or a movie, where would you set it? Old Republic, I said Old Republic, High Republic, Skywalker saga time frame, that 55 years, or post sequels. So, like, where are you at with your feelings on the state of Star Wars now, over the next 18 months, and then what do you want to see?
Well, it's so hard because they're already doing Ahsoka, which I'm very excited for, and they're bringing in characters to that I wanted to see again. So I missed my Ghost Squadron from Rebels, so I was very excited to see Chopper and Sabine and Hera show up, and they're obviously going to be looking for Ezra, so and Grand Admiral Thrawn. So looking forward to that. I would also take a Thrawn show from early days.
That would be good.
There's some really good Thrawn material out there from, we've got
Tons.
multiple trilogy now. So a couple trilogy for books for Thrawn. So they could pick apart those stories and make them into some movie or TV shows, and I would be ecstatic. But overall, I would love to go back to the Old Republic and explore and see some of the villains from the old games or some of the novels, and just explore that world and what it looked like. And I know that the New Republic is the High Republic is the big thing right now. It's the new shiny toy, but they're not quite done with it as far as the novels and books go. And I don't want to rush. Mm-hmm. I don't want to rush what's going on there, because I think they're writing incredible stories. And for them to take those stories and make them into movies, I would be very excited to see. Mm-hmm. But I want the stories I want them to have their time. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. Old Republic is where I want to go. Real bad.
Yeah, if we do Old Republic, it could even be just like a mini series, but I want Bane. I want the rule of two. I want the formation of the Sith, all that stuff. We were talking before we started recording. I would love to see some sort of Night Sister. Like, it could either be during the Clone Wars or like in early days, like a Dathomir thing, with the Night Brothers, even like an early Maul. If there is a story, I'm sure that they could create something there. But I know we talked when they first announced the shows like Acolyte, it made me think instantly of Night Sisters, and I think it's going to be angled towards more of the Sith acolytes, which is fine, because I think that'll be interesting too. But I don't know, something about watching those Clone Wars episodes with Talzin and Ventress and then playing Fallen Order with oh my gosh, why can't I think of her name? Oh, it's gonna upset me.
Search your feelings.
Marin.
Yeah.
Found it. Thank you, Brain Secretary, for sorting through those files. Yeah, Marin. So, anyways.
You mean Cal's love interest?
Yeah, exactly. So that would be fun for me to see. I know that there's talks or there's been early discussions about a High Republic movie in the works, which would be interesting. But as far as like the overall state, I think it's hard to be unhappy with where we are as Star Wars fans with the content we're getting. There's been plenty of criticisms about certain things. I'm just worried, like, for example, for the Ahsoka show, if people don't get Thrawn or if people don't get something that they want, oh, well, now that show's trash, right? Or similar, with Andor, I'm curious to see what comes of Andor, what the expectations are for Andor. And, I'm very excited for both shows. I just hope that we as fans recognize that, we've said this before, that we're very fortunate to be in the time that we are from a consumable standpoint for content. So, but yeah, so that's kind of the news and notes and bips and bops and boops. We'll move into
Bip bop boop.
bippity boppity boop. We'll move into comics and books real quick. So from a book standpoint, Shadow of the Sith just dropped, I think it was last week. And early kind of feedback on that is super positive, and it kind of like fills in the gaps on stuff with the prequels, stuff in the OT, and stuff in the sequels. So it's kind of like a catch-all sort of bridge novel that fills in a lot of gaps. So really excited to read that, or I may get that one on audiobook. I've got like 7 credits burning a hole in my pocket on Audible, and so I might get that one on audiobook. But then I recently got my copy of Brotherhood, which is about Obi-Wan and Anakin, after Anakin became Jedi Knight. So it's before the Attack of the Clones movie, so it's in between episode 1 and episode 2, and kind of their escapades around the galaxy, the trouble they get into. So again, that book too, I've heard really good things about. I pre-ordered it from the bookshop over in England that does all the signings with the authors.
Oh, nice.
And I'd kind of forgotten that I'd ordered it, and then I got a book in last week, and I go, what did I order? So that was a pleasant surprise. It's got this powder blue coloring on the page edges, so it looks really sweet. So definitely looking forward to reading that one. And then as far as comics, alluded to it in the intro, but Obi-Wan #2 came out last Wednesday. Yeah, it was last Wednesday. And if you haven't started reading the Obi-Wan series, I'm enjoying it so far. It's fun the way that it's written, because it's written from the perspective of old Obi-Wan recounting past memories, and the present day sort of Obi-Wan it's before A New Hope, but it's after Rebels. So you've got that 4-year period, 5-year period between there. So that's kind of where the present day is at. But issue 1 goes all the way back to his time as a young kid at the temple. His friend who helps him along through his training, she runs off. He chases after her. They get into some shenanigans. But he learns, it's a teaching moment in that the attachment, like you can see from an early stage that, he's working through that, trying not to be attached, which if you think about Obi-Wan over the course of his life, multiple attachments, right, have been made, tons of heartbreak for him. But issue 2 picks up with Padawan, Obi-Wan, and Qui-Gon on a mission, and there's a really cool sort of, I don't know if I call it a villain or more a kind of a lost soul, basically, is how it's written. And it's fun reading and understanding kind of the the cockiness that Obi-Wan had, to like not like Anakin level cockiness, but Qui-Gon constantly centering him, and Obi-Wan failing to kind of trust his senses and trying to look at things more literally, and then over the course of the issue coming to realize and kind of let go to some extent and not overthink it. And but the artwork is fantastic. I picked up one of the variant covers for number 2, but Phil Noto does the cover arts, and I swear half the time I walk into a comic shop and I just see a cool cover and I buy it. But the writer's Christopher Cantwell, and so yeah, I mean, 2 issues in, I'm enjoying the story so far. Again, trying not to be too spoilery.
They are fresh.
Mm-hmm. So, but I'm fortunate. I've got a comic shop right up the street, and was going to give them a shout out. Altered State, they're up there off Big Ben and Sulphur Spring. Oh, it's Sulphur Spring. So right up the street from my house, and talking with Brandon in there. Him and John run the shop. They're really cool guys. So if you happen to be in sort of the West St. Louis County area, it's a great shop. You should go check them out. So I picked up my copy of, 2 copies of Obi-Wan. I picked up Vader 24, which has the variant cover with Choose Your Destiny Vader on it. So I've got the Obi-Wan version for his series, and then I've got the Vader version for his series, and it just looks really cool. Picked up Crimson Reign number 5, which is the last in that series, that run. That was a limited series, 5 issues, centering on Kira and
I do love what they're doing with Kira
and the rise of Crimson Reign.
I really want to see a movie. I want to see a Solo too. I also would rather I'll take like a Crimson Dawn movie. Like, it'd be so good.
Yeah, and then reading through some of the comics today. The Mandalorian comic comes out next week, so we're gonna I'm gonna assume that's a limited run. But yeah, for the first time, the Mandalorian arrives in comics. So, and the last book I picked up today was a compilation of all of the stories that Chrysanthemum is involved in. And this was one, again, where I saw the front cover and I just kind of bought it. So it combines Star Wars number 15, number 20, and number 14, excerpts from Vader 14 and 15, and Afra number 1. And it starts with the opening story is Star Wars 15, which has the picture of kind of nomad Obi-Wan, which if you were on social media after the finale, him riding off in his white outfit on his EOP, which actually he references his EOP in issue 1 of Obi-Wan. So good news, the EOP makes it.
Oh boy, thank goodness.
At least another 8 or 9 years. So
it's a trusty animal.
He is. Yeah, so I can't wait to read the Chrysanthemum book, and that's pretty much all I have for comics.
Yeah, but it looks good.
I mean,
Stuff
I don't know.
looks good.
Are you going to read? You started to read the High Republic. Are you going to finish reading the High Republic?
Yeah, I need to catch
so
up
we can talk about it?
Yeah, I need to catch up on that, and then I'll start in on Obi-Wan here shortly also.
Well, I buy like 4 copies of each, I swear, so I'll just let you borrow one.
Leave one here. Yeah, I'm excited to get into the Obi-Wan comics. It reminds me a lot of some of the novels that fill in some time that we didn't get to see during films or anywhere else. So very excited about that.
Yeah, there's a really cool part at the beginning of issue 2 where he recounts his duel with Maul.
Ah, yes, that is one of my favorite scenes in Rebels.
So, and again, the way it's written, well, it's just wonderfully done, and it uses Maul as the backdrop for it, and then it kicks back in time to go over the trials with him and Qui-Gon. So again, if you're a comic fan, or Star Wars fan, and you aren't reading Obi-Wan yet, you probably should.
Better get on it.
And that was something I wanted to chat about real quick, was the comics and their ability to trial ideas for shows and movies, and to what extent
they pull from those, or they set those up.
Right. So like Afra, she's got to show up at some point in one of these shows, right?
I would hope so.
So which one would she be most likely to show up in? would it be Andor?
Timing wise, she could end up in Andor because she works directly for Vader in some cases with her assassin droid.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. It just depends on where she happens to be and where. I mean, she could show up in a bunch of different shows. It's just a matter of where they decide to plug her in at. It would have to be, I would assume, pre Skywalker saga though. Mm-hmm. So, OT at least.
Right, because she's such a popular character within the comics.
Yeah.
And even some of the books, and so, I guess print media is at least the comics are a little bit easier to trial ideas, and I just wonder how soon we're going to get to see some of the characters that people have been enjoying in the comics finally come to, well, I guess the small screen.
Yeah, I mean, we should get a bunch. Like, that's the biggest thing for me. Like, we should get a lot of characters popping up wherever they can throw them, and some of these are like fan favorites. So there's no reason why they don't do it.
What are you looking up?
I'm looking up the exact timeline for Afra.
Oh, gotcha.
Because I'm trying to think if.
I mean, even if they gave her own like animated series, like the hijinks and because she's kind of like in the Indiana Jones of the Star Wars universe, right? So going back to talking about other shows we'd like to see, I mean, that would be a really easy show to animate, and I think it could be a lot of fun, and she'd be a great character to center it around. So what have you learned in your 2 minutes of research?
I don't know.
Search your feelings.
2 minutes. I learned that 2 minutes is just not enough when I don't have an actual laptop to do like a Control F.
Oh yeah.
Find the info.
That's fine.
Gosh dang it. Yeah, I'll figure that out. I'll come back to it.
Anything else you want to talk about as far as comics and or books? I don't know.
Nothing currently. No, I don't have anything else.
No, nothing. Alrighty. Well then,
slide over to the toy news.
That's the toy news.
So, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the amount of stuff that has just come out this year and already been announced for next year, and how hard it is getting to just keep up, constantly keeping up. For those of you that are like me and collect Black Series figures, we've had 35 new figures released this year, or will be released this year, from the Galaxy Waves, which are the new box arts, and they're not all from one string. They keep bouncing around. Most notably, the Obi-Wan ones have been announced, so those should be exciting. Fifth brother, third sister. I mean, we're gonna get them all, so it's gonna be awesome. Very excited about them, but again, the price point going up to $25 a figure. Any deluxe figures are $30 or $33. It just is a lot to keep pushing out. There's 8 50th anniversary figures coming out this year. 5 exclusives, 4 archive figures. It's just a lot. So I mean, just on the Black Series alone, 9, 17, 52 figures coming out, and if they're averaging $25, a little above that is the average because the exclusives cost more.
So just say $30.
Yeah, $30 average probably. So I mean,
that's $1,500.
Yeah, just on action figures. Don't forget I buy 2.
Yeah, you buy multiples.
Anyway,
now did Hasbro like come out? Because I know Lego did this, but did Hasbro come out and say, "Hey, because of
price hikes have happened.
XYZ, we're raising our prices this much."
Yeah. Because the figures used to. I mean, last year, like they started to go up at the end of the year. They went from $19.99 to $22.99, and then this year we got another $2 hike.
So they went from $20 to $25 for your baseline
in a year
fix.
In a year and a half.
Wow.
Yep. And then they're calling a lot of things deluxe figures that, in my opinion, maybe not deluxe figures. Adding an extra couple weapons is not a deluxe figure for me. Giving me a second figure inside that, like, for instance, some of the Mando deluxe figures have Grogu in there with the pod or with other accessories. So that all I get. But if you're just adding one gun, like, just give it to me in the other box, or don't give me the gun. I don't care. Like, we'll figure it out.
Right.
We'll make do. But anyway, and then on top of that, there's 56 vintage collection figures that have been announced for this year, along with 10 exclusives for the vintage collection.
Like that's included in the 56, or that makes 66?
No, that's 66 total for the vintage collection line, and that's a lot. Some of those were included in the Mandalorian vintage collection Razor Crest that came out.
Oh yeah.
There was multiple vintage figures in that box, so I think 3 vintage collection figures in that box. So that's part of it, right? But at the same time, and the Razor Crest is technically a vintage collection item,
right?
So that makes up 4 items out of the 66.
So for those playing at home so far, that we're at 118.
Yeah, just between 2 lines.
Figures.
I didn't count retro figures. I didn't count credit collection figures because there have been 4. I should have gone and looked at the credit line because I'm sure there's been at least 4 of those announced this year. From the new season of The Mandalorian, they did Grief. They did another Grief. They did an Armor. They did.
Did you Cobb?
No, the Cobb is coming out. He's a deluxe figure coming out. Yep. He's coming. He's coming.
As long as he comes with like a cybernetic arm or something like that.
That would be cool, but no.
RoboCobb?
We're not getting RoboCobb, sorry. And then already for next year, we've got 16 figures announced for the Black Series in total, and then 6 vintage collection figures for 2023 already announced. Some of those are exclusives, and but yeah, it's just a lot. It's a lot to keep up with. It's a lot to keep track of, and
that's a lot of money.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing for me is like some of the figures they're redoing from the archive collection are just, just money grab. Like, it's not even like good figures. It's things that nobody asked for, and they continue to be on pegs. And for God's sake, Hasbro, do not make any more Lando figures.
Like vintage Lando, or
current
solo Lando.
The current one sitting on the shelves in massive quantities as the Return of the Jedi Lando.
Oh, gotcha.
Not in his disguise. It's
General Calrissian.
General Calrissian. And, we needed that figure, but I think they packed him 3 per box out of 8. That's exaggeration. I know he was 2 out of the 8 for the box. He should have been the single pack. Just because, once somebody has a Lando, they're good. Like, I don't know. This happened with the 40th anniversary Landos for the Empire Strikes Back that we got. He was everywhere. He was the last one taken. He didn't even beat out the TIE pilots.
Yeah, but with TFPs, you can build an army out of them.
Right, but
you can't build an army of Landos.
But they were still TFPs were still on the shelves too.
Oh wow!
And there were still more Landos. So and one of the archive figures is him in the disguise, which that's cool. We just got some more Jabba characters that coming out. They're releasing stuff that we can use that figure for again.
Sure, would have been nice to have a Rancor to go with it.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up. Yeah, it would have been nice to have a Rancor.
Pour one out for
the Rancor. Yeah, and along with a Danny Trejo figure. I need one of those too.
Is he coming out?
No, not yet. It has not been announced that I've seen. If he has, please somebody correct me online. But should be good. I think it's getting excessive right now. It's hitting the wallet hard, especially with other things in the world happening at the same time.
So how do you pick which ones to get? So that's 138 figures between this year and next year
for
the ones you just laid out. That's 138 figures.
Well, luckily for me, I'm not really into the vintage collection, so that saves me 70 figures currently on that list. But I'll still get a couple of them. So it doesn't save me a full 70. It probably saves me 55 to 60 figures. It saves me because I'll get some of my favorite characters in their vintage collection form, depending on their outfit and stuff like that. So for the Black Series ones, up to a certain point, I'm perfect. But the completionist in me is dying slowly because it's just too many. And we just talked about it earlier this show. My room is oversaturated.
You took 30 minutes literally 30 minutes to clear out enough space for us to record right now.
Yeah.
Because it was overrun with pops. It wasn't even overrun with
Yeah, it wasn't even Black Series this time.
Black Series.
It was Pops. And I tell you what, it's getting a little crazy out
You
there.
ventured back into the Funko world.
Yeah, a little bit. I just blame Whatnot for that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you got to build inventory.
Yeah, and most of that stuff is inventory. There's a few that I just legitimately I need to go through, like some of the Pops behind me. There's 2 bookcases full of Pops, and that doesn't count the Star Wars Pops that are on the other side of the room. I really need to go through some of these and actually say, I just don't care about this line anymore. Like, so it'll get cleared out a little bit. So some of those Pops I just packed away will have to come back out and go on shelves, especially Star Wars ones. And because right now on each shelf, I think I've got 1 Pop shelf for each bookcase over there. One shelf of Pops, except for that one. But
Except for that one.
yeah. Oh, it's because it's got the helmets up top. That would be the Pop shelf, but instead it's got the titanium helmets. Doesn't allow me to add another shelf. Crazy stuff. Yeah, I'm just sticking to my favorite new molds. Like, if I have the character at this point, I'm not getting the reincarnation of the same character, just in a different outfit.
So is there one that's coming out that you are most looking forward to?
All of the Inquisitors.
Okay.
We're getting them all. So I'm getting them all, and I'm very excited about those figures. And then the new Obi-Wan I will get because it's Obi-Wan. There's 2 of them coming out, one from Jabeam and one from the Wandering Jedi. And
I like the Wandering Jedi one. It looks good.
They both look so good, and I would be upset with myself if I missed out on him just because it's Obi. But yeah, some of the other ones, like, I mean, I have been asking for a figure in Dan and the modal nodes for so long. They put one out, and then the other one is a deluxe figure with multiple instruments inside. The problem with that is I don't need the multiple instruments in one box. I need multiple figures with the instruments. So that means I have to go buy multiple.
And just throw away the extra instruments from each one.
Right.
I mean, the alternative would have been to have the single instrument. You know, like, you're the trumpet player,
I don't know why they just
you're the oboist.
like, there's a 4-pack of Troopers right behind you in that box set. Like that box set that's a 4-pack of Troopers. Why not make a 4-pack figure of the band? Like, it would have been so simple, and it would have sold like crazy. But I'm sure they're doing it like this because they can make more money instead of putting a box set. So I don't know. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on action figures this week. Still very excited about some of the ones that are coming out, but it's just getting to be a lot. And it's almost defeating because I'm realizing that I'm not going to be able to hold the complete, like, set.
Well, and it's unfortunate that they continue a line, like, year to year. So, you know, like, you have your 2022 editions, right? Like, here's your set, or here's your 2023. Like, they just kind of snowball. So you have to have, like, 1 through 10, for example, from this year, and then because they're going to continue 11 through 20 next year. It would be nice if they just did, like, 1 through 10 in 22, and then 1 through 10 in 2023. So you're not missing a set.
And at first I was really excited about this box art because it's cool. It plays off between the sets, but, like, they're not just running through one series at a time. They're making figures from any series they can, which makes sense from a money standpoint, right? Like, you have to mix it up because not everybody likes the Mandalorian. No, pretty much everybody likes Mandalorian. Not everybody
pretty much universally loved.
Yeah, not everybody is a huge fan of Clone Wars, though, as an action figure collector. So, like, they can't just keep running through Clone Wars figures, or Rebels figures, even though there are Rebels characters that we desperately need in a action figure form. But, like, for instance, over there in that set of Rebels, there's no Thrawn yet. Why haven't they made a Thrawn? Or why haven't they made a Grand Inquisitor? Or, I mean, there's so many figures, and they are making a Grand Inquisitor now, but he is going to be part of. I actually need to check if that's going to be Rebels or if he's going to be Obi-Wan. I think he's going to be Obi-Wan, though. But
for the Grand Inquisitor?
Yeah. But that's just it. Like, why not make...
We can have both versions. You have big giant head.
Believe me, they probably will do it because it's more money. But yeah, like, I like the box art and everything, but The problem is they don't complete anything. Like they won't just say it's done. So I have a shelf for each one. And yeah, I mean, Mando's already over one shelf, and I knew that was going to be a bigger thing than what it is.
Well, we were talking the other week about like the Bad Batch, right? You just gotten your Echo in, and you were going through how they came out in order. And Echo, poor Echo, he's the last one to come out.
Yeah.
So like you said you got 2 crosshairs.
Two different crosshairs.
Just like a rando Scorch Trooper or Shock Trooper, before you get Echo, who is a
member of the Bad Batch.
Yeah, I wouldn't say integral, integral member, but he's there.
Because we got an elite squad trooper from Crosshair's team, and then we got the Shock Trooper, and I mean we got Rex, and we even got Rampart before we got Echo. I think Omega is actually listed before Echo also.
Poor Echo.
So, which I don't have Omega over there, but
it's like the Island of Misfit Toys.
She's out somewhere. I'll have to grab her when I'm sure I don't doubt I have it pre-ordered. So, but yeah, it's just insane. And they just keep coming, which is not a bad thing. I'm happy the line is strong.
Yeah, but you have no space. So
yeah, so I'm unhappy.
That's the biggest challenge.
Yeah. But yeah, and I'll get to a point where I just start selling some of my collection out just because it's it's just too much to keep. Yeah. And I mean that's not on top of the almost, I want to say it's 160 or 175 figures for the red box line that's hidden in the corner over there.
Oh yeah.
That's all on one bookshelf now. But yeah, there's like 175 figures over there.
Now that line's done, right?
That line is done. They're not making any more red boxes like that. So maybe I keep those. I don't know. Because I can say I'm done. I have them all.
I have the whole set.
But yeah, those are also probably the least valuable ones out of the ones in the room. Oh, Star Wars action figures. I tell you what.
Well, Lego's kind of the same way. We've got a handful of new sets coming out here. The beginning of next month. You got a BD-1. You've got the Inquisitor Scythe ship. You've got the Justifier, so Cad Bane's ship. And then you've got the AT-TE Walker, which actually looks really good. The Justifier is going to be a $170 set, which seems, I don't know how many pieces. It's only 1,000 pieces. Seems really high. It comes with a Cad Bane, an Omega, a Hunter, and Fennec Shan, and there's a what's Cad's droid? Can't remember. Anyways, he comes in it too. I mean, for $170. So that's what I was talking about earlier. Lego came out and actually emailed us. You know, if you were signed up for your Lego, for Lego news and stuff, like, yeah, these are going to go up, 20 to 40%. Prices are. So Justifier is going to be 170 at 1,000 pieces. The AT-TE Walker is $140 and actually has more pieces than the Justifier.
Isn't that crazy?
And it has a Phase 2, and it comes with a Phase 2 Cody and 4 clones and 3 battle droids. So that's pretty awesome. I mean, the Lego community's only been asking for a Phase 2 Cody for something like, 10 years. And I think Lego saw all these custom clone folks making their own making their own version, and finally decided to cash in on it. So good for them. The Inquisitor Transport Scythe is a $100 set. Comes with Grand Inquisitor, Third Sister, Fifth Brother, and Wandering Obi-Wan, which looks, from a figure standpoint, it looks great. The ship looks fine. 930 piece set for $100, so not too bad, especially given the figs that we're getting with it. And then the BD-1 is also a $99 set.
That BD-1 looks really good.
Looks great, and that one's actually available for pre-order. The other 3 are not, so you can pre-order up to 2. Again, $100 set for 1,062 pieces. So for value for money, it's great, and it comes with a little BD-1 minifig too, just like the BB-8, just like the Dio sets did as well. So, so those 4 sets are, well, the first 3 they say coming soon, but I believe they're all coming out in early August. The BD1 says it will ship from August 1st. So I'm gonna probably pre-order the BD1, and I want to get the AT-TE because it looks really good. But similar to you, I just don't have any space for a lot of my sets. I did just finish the diorama of the TIE Fighter, or the Death Star Trench Run diorama, and I know I kind of poo-pooed them during the QuadCon episode, but actually, I mean, it's a bit of a fiddly build, a lot of greebling, but it actually, I mean, it looks, once it's all done, it looks really
solid.
good.
Yeah.
I did make one adjustment to the TIE Fighter that looks like it's floating off on its own, like it's not even part of the Vader run, and I moved that down, and there was actually space to kind of create my own anchor point, so it looks less out of place. But I have seen some people who've taken 2 of those sets and made these awesome mocks where they build the exhaust port at the one end, and they use some of the extra pink pieces that come with the set to kind of create the proton torpedo going in. So you kind of get the full experience, and it's longer. I mean, it looks really good. So that was a fun set to build. But yeah, the price of Lego right now, well, like everything, it's going up. They're actually moving away from plastic bags for the CMF series, the collectible minifig series, and they're going to cardboard boxes. I think to keep people from like feeling the bags up find.
I think everyone's kind of trying to move away from plastic anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, even Hasbro, some of the new boxes for action figures are just cardboard, no window.
Oh,
which is another problem for me personally. Like the ones that I face forward, obviously you can see the action figure. So if I can't see the figure inside the box, to be able to look at the paint app, to be able to just view the figure, like what if somebody figure swapped it? And sounds crazy, but I'll never know.
Right.
Because
you're never going to open it. Well, and I was talking about custom Lego earlier, and one of the things that, with the price of Lego where it's going, or where it's at and where it continues to go, like, I mean, the printing, the custom printings are getting so good that I'm worried that you're going to start getting, quote, counterfeits, that they're printed on real Lego, so you're not going to be able to tell that they're fake. They're not Chinese knockoffs or foreign knockoffs. Like I saw one of the Instagrammers I follow, who does online auctions and stuff like that. He's got a Jedi Bob, which it came in I think the second iteration of the Republic gunship. He was just random Jedi, but he's been affectionately named Jedi Bob. His price has gone up quite considerably, and this fella is printing his own. And the chest, like the torso piece, which is the only unique component to him, is the torso piece. It looks almost identical, so I don't know if he's printing that or if he's buying those in bulk and then just assembling it, but it looks really good, and that's really concerning because you're going to start having people pay, $100, $150, $200 for a figure that isn't real, like isn't a Lego version. And the thing I'm really worried about is items like the Cloud City Boba Fett, which I have one of those, and right now that the market price on those is absolutely insane. And I mean, there are certain aspects of the arm printing that years ago was hard to replicate, and now it's becoming much easier to replicate. And so you can go out and buy a cheap pair of gray arms and print up hundreds of these arms, because it's the arms that normally crack on that particular fig. And so that can drop your price by 30% easy, or your value, whatever. And people can just queue them up on their printers and print the snot out of them. And you're not going to know, like an average person is not going to know the difference, because they're going to become that good. And so for people getting into the hobby, there's a real risk that people are going to get swindled left, right, and center with pieces that say Lego on them. You know, they're all official Lego, but they've been custom printed. And so I had somebody messaging me tonight asking about, you know, building an army. You know, what's the best way to do army building? And it's like, well, if you don't care about resale, going and getting the foreign knockoffs, way to go. It's going to be cheapest.
Money, yeah.
I mean, otherwise, you know, you're going to be paying $6, $7, $8 a clone, and if you want to build an army of 100, I mean, it's not cheap, you know, and so I recommended actually buying some from Europe because for those following the real world stuff, the euro is tanking compared to the dollar, so you might be able to find some good deals. But anyways, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, I think we deal with the counterfeit aspect in almost every collectible hobby. Granted, with the Black Series stuff, it's been a little more safe, except for some troopers. Some troopers, and specifically Darth Maul from the Orange line, they started making knockoffs of him immediately almost. And there's obviously obvious box errors on the Maul to make him be the knockoff. So you have to know what to look for. But the as far as pops go, there is a lot of printed pops at this point out there in the market, like fake boxes, box swaps, fake stickers that people are printing. Like it is getting tougher and tougher to just visibly look at something and say that's fake. You really have to know what you're looking for on the box, or the factory stamp on the bottom, or the factory stamp on the bottom of the pop, which people are replicating those too at this point. So finding some higher end pops at discounts is generally a big red flag, and anything from China right now is just you know you're getting a fake. I mean, I had a run-in with a local guy actually he sold me this awesome Batman Beyond pop, like, and no discredit to him because I don't think he knew, but like as soon as I tried to load it in the app, it scanned the wrong box, and it had the right sticker on it. The pop is right, or it looks right at least, after my strenuous research that I did on it after looking at it and saying something's wrong. And but yeah, whoever sold it to him, it was a box swap and a sticker swap, and he legitimately was just like, I've never taken it out to really look at it because I like the pop, and it was from a trusted guy in my opinion, so I never even questioned it. And I'm like, yeah, I just tried to add it to my collection and it scanned the wrong box. And then I started doing some digging, and then that's just what it is. And that's frustrating for both of us. One, because I wanted the pop. Two, because it's a refund situation. So,
well, yeah, and like you said, you've got boxes. Like with Lego minifigs, there are no boxes.
Yeah.
And so before it was, hey, take the torso off the legs. Does it say Lego? Is Lego printed on the legs? Is Lego printed on the neck piece on the torso? Is Lego printed on the headpiece? Is Lego printed is it stamped? Is it stamped everywhere? And the custom market now is, they're going out, they're going on Bricklink, they're buying up bulk torsos, bulk legs, and they're wiping them to get them clean, or clear off whatever prints on them, and then printing their own. And so there is no there's no obvious designation like, oh, that is definitely a fake thing, unless you're 100% aware of what the actual print is supposed to look like, what the colors are supposed to look like. And that's the thing with older ones, some of the colors are different. Some of the prints, like my arm printing on my Cloud City Boba, it's a little less stippled than another one you might see. Like they're still the same, but because of how things were printed in 2003, it's the second arm printed figure ever. They weren't consistent, right? You had some bleed over. You had rocket launchers that some of it printed off, some of them are fully on, and those are all legit, but they look different. And so, but you're talking about sticker swaps. That's happening a lot with people in like Targets and Walmarts, where they're printing up a bunch of real UPCs, but for cheaper figs or cheaper sets. So like they'll print a Lego Friends set that's $30. They'll print out a bunch of UPCs, take that UPC, slap it over a let's say Boba Fett's throne room. That's a $100 set. Well, it's going to ring up a $30 set, and they're going to go through self-checkout, and no one's going to flag it because it rang up just fine. And then people go out, and then they sell, which they're selling legit sets, but they're stealing from.
They're stealing from Walmart.
They're stealing from the retailers.
And Lego. Yeah.
And I mean, nobody's going to feel sorry for the retailers, but you're going to have
that affects restocks. That affects a lot.
Right. So, you know, and supply right now for anything is terrible, but especially like in our world, like Lego or your
oh yeah, last year's
you can't find any.
Yeah, except for Lando's.
So
2 pegs full.
Lando's as far as the eye can see. So that's the state of Lego, and it's unfortunate, you know, because I love to build, I love to collect. I have my own mini like Jedi temple of Lego sets that I've inventoried and stuff like that, which some I will build and some I will hold on to. But the way that the market is shifting and we're getting so many people in, which is great. It's great for the hobby, but it also breeds, you know, people who take advantage of those folks. And, you know, it's just something that people who are coming into the hobby need to be aware of, that, you know, there are plenty of trusted resources, trusted sites, trusted pages, whatever. But as you said earlier, if it seems too good to be true, it generally is. And so, and if you're into buying custom minifigs, which there are a lot of amazing custom minifigs out there, there's one's Big Kid Bricks, who's I think out of Indiana, has a ton of amazing customs. Like he's got a really cool trench, and he's got a Plagueis and Sith. And anyways, there's a lot of really great custom people out there, but there are also going to be people who are looking to profit off of, you know, real Lego figs by printing their own. And so you gotta be vigilant out there. So that's my PSA for anybody going to the collectible game.
Be vigilant. Know your stuff.
Ask the questions.
Yeah, ask lots of questions. Join groups where you can ask lots of questions, because there are people like me in those groups that, like, if somebody puts up something for a legit check, I'll be the first one to, like, if it's a collection that I know, for especially Pops, like that's been the common thing lately, is this legit? Like, and it's just, well, post all sides of your box and let me take a look, and I'll tell you right away. And it's some things that are it's just the easiest thing to spot. Like the M in the word animation doesn't sit correctly on the box because the font is off. That's how they can claim they're not infringing on trademark. So like that's how they get away with it. So I mean, that's just in some cases it's one letter on the entire box is wrong, or the white border around the head is just a little wider, or it didn't cut into the neck all the way like it's supposed to. Like it's just those little things. And until you find one, or somebody tells you that, hey, you sold me one, or you might not even know that there are fake Pops of certain ones until you end up with one. Until you end up with one, and then you're researching it, and you're like, oh crap!
Yeah, like, did I just get hosed?
Yeah.
And so it's unfortunate that, you know, the thing we enjoy and so many people enjoy, you get the bad apples.
Yeah,
as it were.
There's always that small group.
So, any more toy talk? Join us for Toy Talk every Friday at noon.
No,
on ABC.
I think that's it. But I mean, if you guys have time and you guys are looking for some collectibles, I am on Whatnot now. So find me at Jedi John on Whatnot.
Cheap plug time.
Well,
it's your show. You can name drop your stuff.
Come hang out with me and some of the other guys that are in my room all the time. We have a lot of fun. Giveaways, all that good stuff. At last show we did some giveaways for stickers for our sister podcast. So yeah, it's good times. So come check me out on Whatnot.
Yeah. And speaking of our sister podcast, if you're into, well, like if you're a big fan of The Boys, I know The Boys is going strong in its 3rd season.
Oh my gosh, it's season 3?
Season 3, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's good though.
Halfway through season 3 now. So, but yeah, be sure to check out our friends over at Galactic Dads.
It's not for weak stomachs, The Boys.
No. This last episode, it's a bit. I saw many articles about how did they get away with half the stuff that was in there, right? But, anyways, you can find them pretty much on all podcasting platforms. They're at Galactic Dads on all the social networks. But I know. This most recent episode, they talk a bit about what they're looking forward to with Thor: Love and Thunder. They cover Top Gun and Jurassic Park Dominion.
Yep.
And
episode 92.
92.
Yeah. Closing on 100 over there.
It's a good run.
With the Galactic Dads. It's going to be good.
It's a good run so far.
I think we're at 4 hands coming up.
Oh, cool.
So pretty excited about that. It'll be a fun trip. I think we're doing it. We got the Brewmaster on, so it'll be a lot of fun, but it sounds like it's going to be a Thursday at like 10 in the morning.
Oh, all right.
And so it should be a fun day.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to it.
There you go. So, but yeah, be sure to check out those guys. With that, I think we're going to bring the show to a close. We want to thank you all for listening. Please do leave us a review and a rating on Apple or Spotify or wherever you're enjoying our podcast. It really does help out, and it helps us know what you're enjoying and maybe, what you don't enjoy. That's just as important. So, but yeah, for Jedi John, I'm Obi-Sean.
May the Force be with you.
Force.